Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
It's kind of scary if
I know,
you
I'm sorry.
log on and all you got is Ryan yelling at you.
Startled people. Welcome to the Coachy Shit podcast.
Coachy shit.
She is Theresa and Ryan.
He is Ryan Stanley.
And we are here for episode 15.
15. We're teenagers.
I think that officially makes us like a trimester old. Plus.
It's not weird.
I know, well. Anyway, we're here. And we're here to talk about some Coachy shit today.
How many mesters do you normally have? Is there a quadmester option?
There's, no. I don't know. There's trimesters.
What's that? I gotta Google
There's quarters.
some things.
Quarters, trimesters. Do the searching.
You know, I believe
ask
you.
Jeeves. You could ask Jeeves. I don't know if that still exists.
Or the great and powerful Google.
Yeah. We digress. Welcome, everybody.
Hello. So today...
Go ahead. What are we going to do today?
We're going to eat some Jell-O.
Good idea. I like it.
Orange, sugar-free Jell-O.
Naturally flavored.
Yep. So pop that open.
Only 5 calories.
Yep. So good Jell-O. There's nothing like having a good snack and hanging out with a good friend.
Getting stuff done. And
all the things we decided. Jell-O's making some noise. We decided, this is like my 5th one today,
nice.
by the way.
Number 1 for me.
Good to go. It's good stuff, right? Strong orange. But the topic for today, as we discussed and decided beforehand,
a couple of minutes ago,
about like 3, is meditation.
Ooh.
Wow.
Did I sound surprised?
Surprisingly, yeah, you did, because we just talked about it.
I just like to
keep me riveted.
Riveted.
It's riveting. So, buddy.
Meditation.
Yeah.
Tell me about meditation from your perspective.
Oh man, come on. Because there's when do I meditate?
No. I mean, I could ask you that if you want to. Sorry, I dropped my Jell-O.
I think it jumped. You were saying, what's the question?
I was just curious as to like when meditation first arrived into your life as either a practice or an awareness of something that you wanted to consider or whatever. So I don't need a date. I'm just saying if you could think about it hypothetically.
Well, you know how you do something and then you don't realize that it's a thing?
Yep.
It's kind of like that. I don't know. Like, honestly, there was stuff I would do as a kid. Like, I would just kind of like go for these long walks. Or, you know, my dad would, every summer we'd go camping for like a whole month. Literally the whole month of August. They would always forget my brother Andrew and I's birthday. Because we didn't even know what day it was.
Out there in the woods.
Yeah, pretty much. So... you just be with nature and you're just silent and you're still. So honestly, I think like that type of thing started for me when I was a kid and when I was fishing.
Okay.
So even now I love fishing. I usually have a fishing pole in my car and I'll stop and fish places if I see a good spot. And,
do you have a fishing license? I
did have a fishing license for 2015 and I literally didn't get stopped. So I was like, screw it. 2016, here I come.
That's it. It's my
2017. Year. Nobody even cares anymore.
That's it. They've got other things to worry about.
Apparently, and it's very peaceful.
Right.
I mean, I barely catch anything, so no fish are even harmed.
I just like getting you to admit in public places that you are breaking the law on a regular basis.
Yeah, you know, I'm a bad mamma
You're
jamma.
a bad fisherwoman.
It's terrible, but that was a very meditative practice to me.
Yep.
I think that's where it kind of began, and then it kind of metamorphosized over the amount of time between now and then. What about you?
I would say mine is definitely more recent years.
Okay.
Certainly more within the last 8 since I've been a certified professional coach. I mean, since coaching has been part of my life.
I was going to say, that's an oddly specific number of years.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, in fact, even now, I'm curious and interested to learn more about it. When I meditate or I have an opportunity to meditate, I typically don't do what I see other people doing or what I read about or I hear about. It's typically just me really kind of either focusing on my I am statements or like, you know, going through a very specific vision or words in my head, but in silence and in peace and in relaxed. I might turn down the lights. I might, light some incense. I might make it a very physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally comfortable place to be.
Sure.
But I haven't learned any specific techniques as far as watching my breath or, using a specific mantra or those types of things. So for me, it's more about just being present and choosing my thoughts.
You mean being present as I'm picking up my cell phone to Google something?
And so for me, that is a form of meditation.
Sure.
But I'm excited as I kind of continue different levels of growth and awareness to add some new techniques and see what the benefits may be. So, which is part of the reason this actually came up today, because it was on the list, and one day I was thinking, I was like, oh, I wonder how Theresa meditates. Like, I mean, like, what's your process? Like, is there something in particular that you do? And so that's what I had written on the list. And then right before we started this, I looked at the list and it just said, how do you meditate? And I was like, oh, why don't we just talk about meditation?
Well, it's funny because we have talked about meditation in the past, and I've actually been getting people around me to start meditating. I've been using this cool app called Headspace, and you probably heard about it. It's kind of
Probably,
oh,
but maybe not.
probably not really. Maybe no, it's like a really great intro to just meditating.
Okay.
Because a lot of people think like, oh, I'm just gonna sit there quietly, and it's like, okay. So you sit there quietly, but you still have anxiety.
Right. Meanwhile, your brain is going a billion miles an hour.
Or, sometimes I hate to say it, it's more of like the act of doing it just is like, it's like, oh, I'm meditating. It's kind of like, cool. There's actual value here for you.
Right.
So there's a lot of different ways. Headspace is a really good app that does like a 10-day thing, and you can pick how long you want to do a quote unquote, like a guided meditation. So it'll be like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's like a super easy one, but there's so many different ways to meditate.
All right.
It's really interesting.
What's your go-to though?
So it's kind of like asking, what's your go-to piece of cutlery? I mean, you would say it's the fork or the knife or the spoon. Like, it's a spoon if you're eating soup.
Right.
It's a fork and a knife if you're having a steak.
That's fair.
Chopsticks if you're having sushi or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of those things. I use Headspace if I can't sleep. It's kind of like a quick thing, or in the middle of a day.
Yeah.
I have the Deepak Chopra and Oprah, I think it's the Chopra Center meditation. So they have a number of 30-day meditations. They're longer though, and I'll actually do those. They are a bit more guided. They have a mantra that you say over and over. I also have a mala.
It's mantra.
Mantra. Yeah, I got in trouble for that. I guess I don't know. Somebody scarred me in my youth that made me say mantra.
Gotta throw a little. It's like Mothra.
Yeah.
But different.
Mothra and Rodan. You ever see that one?
Exactly. No,
With the dinosaur kills the big moth. It was weird.
Vicious.
But different than a mantra. But basically, so they're like Om Namah Shivaya is a Sanskrit mantra that just calls in the openness of the universe. So it's basically saying like Om Namah Shivaya. It's got the Om, which is the universal sound of life, and it connects to the vibration of life. So you have the Om sound. And then the Namah Shivaya is basically like calling in like all the goodness of the universe. So you're connecting to it and you're pulling it into you, but also giving and receiving from what I've read.
Okay.
And then there's, like Satnam is more like I am greater than this. I am greater than myself. I am part of this greatness. There's a God of my understanding within me, and I am connecting to all things. Things like that. There are a lot of kind of those types of mantras. So when you see someone with those prayer beads, that's a mala usually.
Yeah.
And they have 108 beads. It's just their traditional. And there's a bead on there called the guru bead, and that's where it kind of ties off. And you'll go and do 108 repetitions of whatever your mantra is. And then you actually hold a mala between your middle finger and your thumb.
Yep.
And you move the beads that way. For some reason, I don't remember the significance, but you don't touch it with your pointer finger. And then when you get to the guru bead, you don't skip over the guru bead. You flip the beads and you go back from whence you came.
Interesting.
So I'll do that with, anything. And honestly, I don't experience anxiety very much, but when I can, like when I'm obsessing about something, or I can't sleep, or I just need like a rest, I'll just pick something and, kind of go through a mala until I fall asleep.
There and back, and then there and back until you...
It's just a continuous 108, 108, 108.
Nice. All right. And what do you see as your own, like, I mean, of course, we all read about different types of things, benefits of meditation, but what's been your experience? What do you see as the biggest benefit?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different types of meditation that have different things. So there's transcendental meditation, there's mindfulness meditation, which always pulls you back to the presence of your breath. And then you have, like I did a kundalini yogic meditation last Wednesday.
Hate that. That
was insanity. Like, I was sore after I meditated with these people for 3 hours. It was amazing. It was a very spiritual experience. And they said, the woman who ran it, she was like, the first time I did this, I thought I was going to die. And I'm sitting there like, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
I got this. No problem.
I pick things up and put them down. But it's basically, it's a physical meditation as well.
Okay.
So you are
Like in specific
poses.
difficult poses.
Yeah,
It's not that
either
they're difficult, but the longer you hold them, the longer your body, it becomes difficult.
well, yeah, they talk about like I think it's Buddha. He talks about, or Confucius maybe. I don't know. One of the greats. They talk about like when you have a bowl of rice in your hand extended out, it's not heavy, but if you hold it extended out for years, I mean,
Right.
extrapolate forward, or for minutes, it becomes very heavy, and extrapolate that forward. And they talk about how the slightest things that you think don't affect you really do over time.
Yeah.
So it's basically that
Okay.
in a yogic. It's actually, there's movements though. So like there's one where you're holding your arms up at a 45-degree angle, kind of like you're holding bowls in your arms.
Yep.
And then there's, that one you hold for like, I don't know, 12 minutes.
Right.
And there's another one where it's basically you, kind of like a plank, hold that for 7 minutes. But, then there's other ones where you're doing breath of fire is a very meditative thing.
Right. Like the short breaths.
Yeah. And then, it gets intense, but that's the first time I've ever sweat during a meditation.
Right.
But it's also the first time I've ever really like connected that
Deeply.
far into what I would say like the universe, I guess.
Sure.
And then you have stuff like, I don't know, for me, like I told you, I'll make a list of things that I want to think about.
Right.
And I will do dishes or clean my entire apartment and just choose what I want to think about or just let my mind wander. I mean, there's, and I think your question was, what's the biggest benefit?
Well, what are you seeking, right? When you decide to meditate in any of these cases, is there a specific?
Yeah, there's
It depends on the day.
It's
depends
just
on the
that
situation.
it's kind of like when you get the steak or the chicken, like it's just an experience. It's not like you're seeking the experience of charred cow flesh.
Or right in the end, I want the final thing, this meat to go through my system, and
It's yeah, because there's too much curation there. It's like what just feels right. So for me, meditation, like I said, there's a purposefulness if I can't sleep, or if I feel a level of anxiety.
Yeah.
And also, I do a lot of exercise, like different exercises. I mean, I train Aikido. 90% of Aikido is meditative. I was just telling you I went on a 20-mile bike ride on Sunday.
Right.
That's really meditative.
Yeah.
Sitting with nature, running, just lifting, going to the gym, that kind of stuff. It's all meditative. So I think for me, it's more so, it's kind of like a workout and a rest at the same time. It's like active rest.
Okay.
It's like you're working to not necessarily just focus, but you have something you could focus on, like your breath. But when your mind wanders, you're just mindful of where your mind goes.
It's going.
Or something like that, and then you pull it back to your breath. That would be more like mindfulness meditation, or like kind of doing some sort of intentional meditation. You're really choosing to focus on one thing and channel that. So, I mean, each has its own kind of thing, but they're all really peaceful too.
Well, I think that's what it is for me, is seeking. It's not that I'm unpeaceful to begin with. It's not, I better go meditate.
Yeah.
As much as it is.
Better go meditate.
Like, man, I gotta get out of here. Let me go meditate. No, as much as it is just bringing in a practice like exercising, or like eating healthy, or like getting X amount of hours sleep, or whatever it is. It's bringing something in that brings focus, calmness, just to other areas of your life. So not necessarily an immediate response, but a practice that puts you in a place where you're able to. I'm able to live. I'll say it's more comfortable, more peaceful, feel less anxiety, less stress about other things.
Sure. Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, you are into the jam band scene, namely Fish, and I can see how that's immensely meditative. I mean, I've mentioned in the past, like, I listen to the same songs for hours sometimes. Like, today, I've been flip-flopping between 2 songs, like, all day, literally since about 7 a.m.
Right.
And, it's meditative because you can kind of get in this mental rhythm with music. Or I was telling you the other day, I don't know if I mentioned it on the Coachy Shit podcast.
Maybe episode 14.
Maybe future episode 49.
9 is a good one.
It's a very good
By the
one.
way, that one is hilarious.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I can't wait.
Really funny. But I don't remember what that was hilarious. But basically, music can be meditative, and I think I mentioned I meditated a bit to the Moonlight Sonata.
Yes.
And it's just such an emotional piece of music.
Or what about the Long, Long, Long by the Beatles, Slow Down 800%?
That's just haunting.
There is people out there. There's this YouTube video. And
hey, you people
there in podcast land. There's a song on the White Album called Long, Long, Long. It's a George Harrison song. It's actually really beautiful. In fact, one of the first albums I ever owned, like record, like vinyl, was the White Album.
Is that what those are called?
And yeah,
Cool.
and it's before your time. And so it's like one of these songs that you never really heard of. I mean, it's not on the radio a lot. It's a Beatles song, but
Like you'd have to be a fan to know it.
well, on some level, or at least listen to the White Album, which many people have. But anyway, my point is, as a young 13-year-old, I was immediately impressed by the song. It's beautiful. It's awesome. But anyway, somebody took it, put it in a video, and slowed it down 800 times, and they play it, and it's hauntingly beautiful.
It sounds like whales.
It does, or something. I'll put a link in the Facebook
Yeah.
comments below, but definitely check it out if you feel like. Even if you just, so obviously it's like 18 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah,
but,
it's a commitment. It's ethereal, I would say.
But if you have the time and you're curious, it's worth to listen, I think.
You know, I just remembered something,
Tell
and
me.
it is actually worth listening. It was. Thank you for sharing it. It was hauntingly beautiful. It was like the perfect way. And you told me that that's what it was. So I don't know if I was primed. I don't know, but it was awesome. Damn it, I can't remember anything today. I don't know what's going on.
Music?
Too much Jell-O.
Something about music meditation?
Oh, I got it.
Tell me.
So I was at something else over the weekend. Oh, I was I don't remember what it was, but basically the thing that stood out to me was that I was talking to someone about meditation and prayer. And they said that prayer is when you speak to the universe, you talk to God, you speak to the God of your understanding. Meditation is where you listen.
Huh.
So I know for me, like I have a really strong sense of intuition, but I fight it sometimes. So if I feel any discord, there's usually a reason. So meditation tends to bring those things up.
Sure.
And not in a very conscious way necessarily, but it creates kind of a deeper clarity. So when you do address something, when you hit that string that's off key, you know it right away. And there's more clarity. I know for me personally, there's always more clarity thereafter.
After meditation.
Yeah. And I actively, I think I mentioned to you, like I've actively been choosing to spend a lot of time alone.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, social life, friends, family, that kind of thing. But when that's not there, it's just being in silence or just being in nature.
And I think there's part of, and I don't know this for you, this is for me, I've been in a similar place. Not that I'm choosing to be alone, but as much as I'm truly enjoying moments alone more often. Like, so I suddenly recognize when I am alone and the beauty of it and the presence. And like, so even if I'm just on the weekend out doing stuff in my yard, like cleaning up or whatever, and
Yeah.
I'm out there and all of a sudden like a slight breeze will hit me and all of a sudden I'll just stop and just kind of look around and be like, oh, like this moment right now is amazing. Like, you know what I mean? So but I am alone and I'm alone in my thoughts, and just to kind of sit there in gratitude and to feel alive.
Yeah.
And so that's an example, like in my yard, but I mean also in my house or whatever, is in the car. So I found something recently on the internet. It was like, listen, and I'm paraphrasing, which is ruining it, but something along the lines of, the more you start to discover about your existence, the more you enjoy being alone, and the more people who aren't necessarily looking for that aren't going to understand, the value that you see in your alone time.
Yeah, I've been fortunate, honestly, to have some experiences that have put me into an alone type place for the last couple of years. And then coming out of it, like I have really great friends. Like, I don't know how they haven't given up on me yet, but basically like coming back and, it's like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Or do you want to hang out? Or, hey, I'm going to call you and we're going to talk for an hour or two and catch up on each other's lives. Like stuff like that hasn't been there because I've been so taken away with other things.
Yeah.
It's odd now. It's like, oh, like I'm going to talk to someone.
Right.
And we're just going to hang. Like, it's super cool. And then I'm going to go back to being alone. Like, I'm going to go have an experience and I'm going to go back to being alone. It's awesome.
And both are okay.
They're super cool. Like, I love the people that I have in my life, Like,
yeah.
It's just amazing, though, to go and I can close my door. And it's just me. And it's my space. And it's so perfect. Like, I cleaned my entire apartment this weekend. And when I say clean, like, it just reeks of bleach and vinegar.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
In the zone. Everything's in a toothbrush.
It's it's meditative. And the feeling that you get, and then you burn some incense or some sage or Palo Santo or something like that afterward.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I burn a lot of frankincense and myrrh.
Of course. Who doesn't?
You don't?
Well, you don't know that.
Can you please start? But there's just that, like, you have now, like, your whole brain has just been, like, kind of on vacation for a couple hours. Then you wake back up, there's this pungent, sweet smell. And for me, it brings me back a lot to my childhood. I grew up very strict Roman Catholic. So
Yeah.
frankincense and myrrhs, like, all those holidays and everything at the church. And then your apartment's just magically super clean. You're like, I can live life now. It's amazing. And I want to be alone here, but I also want to have people over. And then you can leave, and then I'll be alone again, and then you can come back. It's so awesome.
It looks great. It smells great. It feels great. And it's clean.
Well, it's energy. Yeah. It's all energy, right? So
100%.
when things are the way that they are.
And when you feel them the way you want to be feeling them, and you see them, and you walk into a room and you feel one way or the other, and cleanliness is certainly part of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes for some people don't notice, and
it's true.
It doesn't serve them one way or the other.
I have a friend actually who will ask me if she notices that I'm a little like tense or something. She's like, when was the last time you washed the dishes? And because I remember I told her years ago, I was like, washing the dishes is just so healthy. Just my brain is free. And she was like, yeah. I was like, yeah.
I'll use that one.
No, that's not for you.
It's not for me. All right, fine.
No.
I won't use that one then.
Don't use it.
I'll use it in my head.
I don't wash
And
the
you-
dishes
and you
anymore.
won't
I have a
know.
dishwasher.
What's his name?
Steve.
Oh, good.
So, but yeah, it's super cool. So I'm curious, how are you planning to infuse meditation into your day-to-day?
Great question. And I don't really have a particular plan. So
Oh, you
at
don't
all.
have a plan?
I have a 13-week
That's
journal that I'm working on, but
No
I
way.
have not entered anything to do with meditation into it yet.
no way. You have a 13-week journal? I
do.
have.
Oh my gosh, you have the same one I have.
I
They
do.
look very similar,
Mine has a little bit more scribbling.
but neater writing, I'll say.
Well, that's a matter of opinion. But either way, there is, in this whole self-journal journey of
Yeah.
13 weeks of basically getting shit done. Week 1 over here, you can keep track of daily habits.
Oh,
So meditation is one of mine.
okay. Throw that. See, I haven't even attached the week yet. I thought we do that at the end of the week, but you apparently
Oh,
are
yeah.
on it.
You're going to keep track of things that already happened at the end of the week? I don't know about that, Ryan. It's a little
well.
bit of a time-space continuum warped wormhole
Thingamabob.
thing, yeah.
All right.
The quarks are out.
I thought it was more like, hey, look at the last week and check these things off.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take a
That's
look.
cool.
But so adding meditation is a daily habit. Well, so here's the thing, though. So
Yeah.
we'll take it back. I mean, I do spend quiet time in meditation every single night, actually. So, but what I call meditation is what I'm referring to, like at the beginning of this conversation. At the end of every single night, before I go to bed, I sit in front of my vision board and I look at it for like 7 or 8 minutes, and I kind of just look at each thing that's on it and think about it. There's words, there's pictures, there's visions, there's things that lead me to where I'm going to be in the future. And then after that, I go into I kind of close my eyes and go into my I am statements, or actually my statement of desire from
Okay.
Napoleon Hill. And that takes, depending on my mind statement, my mindset,
Words are hard sometimes.
sometimes.
It's okay.
That could take 3 minutes or it could take 20,
Okay.
depending on how far my mind kind of drifts as I'm standing there. And then after that,
3 minutes to 20 minutes is a pretty big spread.
I know. Well,
It's like that's a solid 17-minute spread there. That's a hard line.
a lot of different thoughts, take me to different paths. My statement of desire, probably if you were to read it straight, is 3 minutes. But when I take time to think about what this is going to look like and what
Oh,
this is
yeah,
going to
yeah.
feel like, and then maybe other things that pop up, it changes.
Gotcha.
So I do that every day. And every morning when I'm lying in bed before I start my day, I lie there. As soon as I wake up, I go into gratitude, but then I also go into my other, my statement of desire, reminding myself to start my day where I intend to be. So for me, it's not like I am doing that daily, but adding some lessons on meditation, or whether it be TM or whether it be fire breathing, whatever it is. Maybe I'll
Breath of fire. There's
yeah.
so many different things out there.
I know, I was just kidding.
To me, driving is meditative.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good, just drive just clears the head. So, yeah,
So I
opportunity.
wouldn't say I'm in a hurry to change things as much as I'm just curious and looking forward to seeing what else is next. I think maybe after this initial 13 weeks, my next one, I'll start with a new meditation.
Interesting. So, there are a series of 30-day meditations. There's all sorts of things. And I have 2 apps that I bounce back and forth if you're interested. One is Headspace, like I mentioned.
Right?
So, they're pretty good. It's pretty straightforward. And the other one is bing, 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 bing. I think it's Stop, Breathe, Relax. It's Stop, Breathe something, but the icon
It's
cuts
not
it
stop
off.
breathing, though.
No, you
That would
definitely
be
don't
bad.
want to do that. Yeah, stop, breathe, and think is what it is.
Okay.
It's a really good one I use decently often.
All right, there you go. So let's wrap it up. Any thoughts, points that you'd like to leave the audience with as far as meditation is concerned?
I got nothing. It's a good thing. It's a cool thing.
I would say, yeah.
There's no wrong way.
Exactly. Thank you. That's the best thing you could have said. There's no wrong way. It's about being present. It's about deciding to shut the world out and decide who you want to be quietly for a couple minutes.
Or not.
Yeah.
Real quick, I guess the last thing, you're absolutely right. Headspace actually has a little video. They talk about how meditation is, it's kind of like sitting in a field, and you see the blue sky, and you see clouds coming in, coming out, floating over. Some are higher, some are lower, some are rain clouds, some are stormy, some are not, some are just gray. And they talk about meditation in that sense as you sitting in the field, and you're looking up at the sky, and the clouds are your thoughts, and you're not judging them, you're not actively engaging them, you're observing them, and you're seeing them pass. And it's just the experience of also getting to know who you are.
Who you are, and where these thoughts are coming from and where they're going.
Well, that's a secondary part to it, but the first key is always the awareness.
I'm advanced, sorry.
It's cool, I forgive you. It's always awareness. You gotta know what you're working with, you know? So, it's a really cool thing. But you're right, there is no wrong way.
Well, that was your statement. I was right in saying that you were right.
I guess we're both right.
We are right.
High five,
I'll take
man.
it. First one of the day.
It's good stuff.
I'll leave it with that.
Actually, that's not true. But
I meant first one of the podcast.
this
Sorry.
is true.
Yes.
This is true. There are many high fives here on a daily
Always.
basis.
We'll take one more
Okay.
just because. Thank you.
So, that's all I got.
That's all you got.
Do you have any music that you like? Do you? I mean, we did talk about.
Well, like from a meditation standpoint, or like a recommendation for the week's episode?
Our normal recommendation, or are you going to throw that 800 speed?
No, that is not a the Beatles can't, anything that you find in the Beatles is a past recommendation from, I think, episode 1, basically.
Episode -12,
yeah,
probably.
Episode 1962, right?
That's back there.
So, no. So, other than that, I don't have do you have a particular, I feel like I did it 2 weeks in a row. Do you want to come up with meditation, or, a musical recommendation for this week, or do you want me to?
Talk about this. I have music anxiety right now, because I've been listening to the same songs. I've been listening to Coldplay's song Everglow.
Okay.
It's just a beautiful song,
So
especially
Coldplay. Let's go. Everybody not everybody, but many people know Coldplay.
Many people know Coldplay, and I saw them in concert, and it was a spiritual experience. I don't even it was magical. I felt like you talk about meditative. Like every song that they played, I had some sort of connection to.
Yeah.
From an experience or something. And then all of a sudden, like, you're there's the energy. It's a hugely meditative experience. Like, I've never felt alone like that in a room. It was a stadium with 50,000 people.
Right.
Oh my gosh. And they played Everglow. It was amazing. It was just awesome. The energy of it, the space, it's beautiful. So my recommendation, I feel like it's a bit mainstream comparatively to what you usually throw out there.
Doesn't matter.
But it's a beautiful song.
That's what this is about.
It's a beautiful song.
Mainstream
and lyrically, it's hauntingly beautiful.
Okay.
Lyrically.
So there you go.
It's true.
Coldplay. What was the song? Wonderglow?
Really?
Is it Wonderglow?
There's no... Really?
Sorry. I was listening to the description.
Everglow. This will be my last music recommendation.
Listen, I was listening to the energy about the experience that you had.
Beautiful.
And I was not caught up, not saying the name of the song.
Me and Coldplay go back, but Everglow is just a good one. And there's a couple different variations of it. There's iterations, there's live versions that are really great. There's a version where he pulls a guy out from the crowd and has this guy basically brings a sign to the show and says, "Can I play Everglow for you?" And this random dude does, and it's super cool. And there's also really great instrumental. It's just piano. I
will listen to it today. I probably know it on some level. You think? Is it one of their mainstream songs?
I don't know. Do you remember what the name of it is right now?
It's not Wonderglow.
It's Everglow.
Everglow. I got it.
So with that, is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
No, I think that's awesome.
Cool.
Coldplay, Everglow. I'm in it.
Meditate.
I'm going to check it. Meditate. We got 2 separate apps. Mindspace and Stop Breathing.
Stop, breathe, and think.
Stop breathing, think. No, stop, breathe, and think. And just more opportunities to grow and learn. We really appreciate you guys listening to us and our Jell-O and our
Oh, the Jell-O.
conversation.
Gotta
Jell-O
have
was
it.
good.
Orange flavored, sugar free. Even though there's no sugar in it, I'm satiated. It was amazing.
Done and done.
Awesome. He's Ryan Stanley.
He is, and she's Theresa Rezga.
Many days.
Yeah. Thank you for being you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Whoosh.
Whoosh.